Hey, I hope you're doing fantastic. I just wanted to give you a backstage pass into branding and strategy and how those two relate with each other. Let's dive in. What you see here is the end part of strategy branding process, and if you imagine a funnel, is the end part, the end stage, is the orchestration of everything. But before that, if we rewind and go up in the funnel, you see that we need to be very broad. We need to be very holistical. We need to be very systemic. We need to be very strategic. So let's rewind and go back into business strategy. What I want you to consider, if you already have business strategy set up, fantastic. If you need support, my very pleasure. If you need a strategy session or phase, happy to help. So what we need is to define some items and we need to relate them with each other. We need to identify who you are, your company, and your mission. You know, a mission converts so much more because it connects in a human and spiritual level, very deep, very deep. And also we need to identify the impact, the influence. Influence is a conversion. What's a conversion? It's the influence that you're making. But you cannot just sell and convert. You need to do it in an aligned way to your essence, in a way that really contributes. That's what is going to be fulfilling in the end. So that's why I support, and that's why my brand is Heals by Design. Okay? Healing by design. Whatever. Just wanted to say that in that regard. And we also need to identify the quote-unquote competitor landscape, but let's reframe it. Let's call it collaborative landscape. Why? Because collaboration is going to bring you, in the end, the best experience and results of all of this business process. You need to set up space within that landscape in which you can be outstanding, distinctive, and you can collaborate. We also need to identify your user, the end user and client, pain points they have, their needs, maybe a full user research or user persona, whatever you need. And we need to have clarity on the possible obstacles of you creating a bridge and connecting all those dots. When you serve and contribute to the user, you might find obstacles. How to let go of those and be as much effective as you can to achieve those goals. That's crucial. So all of that we need to define, and we need to define values, as you can see over here, and to condense those values into 3. Why? We need to be as clear as possible, but also values can be translated into feelings, and those raw feelings are the way that we connect business strategy with creative strategy. Why? Because visual design actually communicates true feelings, true raw feelings. You know, an image conveys more than 1,000 words, people say, and that's because feelings are that much more powerful, at least in my opinion. After all of this, the next stage then is creative strategy, and this is the result of it. Each of these 3 items is a compilation of all the visuals that are going to communicate these 3 feelings in different ways, from safe to experimental. You want to do it in an outstanding, distinctive, clear, appropriate, and aligned to your essence way, not in an average way that doesn't cut it. We really need to put quality over content to the extent in which it's effective, of course. Okay? And the safest is the most conservative, the one that is most expected in the market and business space. And the experimental is the most disruptive. I personally love the experimental because I love to experiment and I would love to connect with business and people that share that, you know. And yeah, when you choose your preferred option with my help, we can refine it to the point that you're satisfied. And then we have the map, we have the compass to guide us to create a logo, to refine the color palette, to curate the typography, to have all the graphic assets that you need: patterns, shapes, textures, icon library, 3D shapes, illustrations, you name it, whatever you need. animations. Okay, so now let me show you an orchestration, a synthesis, a synergy. I get a little bit passionate, excuse me. A synergy. I just heard myself speaking and I thought, okay, this is maybe a little bit too much. Orchestration of all of this. So you have the style guide, and these can be a physical document, a PDF, hosted in the web, in Figma, whatever you like, whatever is most effective to. And you see how we have the logo, the color and type. And by the way, when we have these branding conversation, I love to tell you how design communicates through feeling and influences feeling, hooks and influences to motivate action. It does it through 3 mediums or 3 tools: color psychology, shape language, and layout communication. Layout is use of space. If you have a tight space, that communicates differently as a spacious space, you know. So those 3 are key, and we want to convey that into the style guides. This one mainly deals with shape and color, but the way that the style guide is constructed is an example of the usage of space. But we can be more specific. Let me show you another more extensive example of a style guide. I anonymize the faces, and now let's go in order. This is the logo. It's a little bit more comprehensive, as you can see. You have a lot of guidelines and instructions of usage and common errors and so on. Placement, it deals with layout, space. Here I want to change to a different style because I want to exemplify that if you know the principles, you can play, you can have fun. There's tons of fun and variation that you can do within that principles of premium visual communication that hooks, influences, and truly converts, impacts. Common errors, you see? Visual style. And here's what I meant about use of space. You can have grids. Let me show you that in the another style. You can have grids, and in that way provide instructions about structure and placement. Icon library, graphic elements and shape languages can be 3D, 2D, patterns, textures, and so on. You name it. And you can apply all of these in different channels and platforms like Instagram. And here you see how we take all of these atoms and components, those Lego blocks, and put them together into compositions, specific individual designs. Super cool, huh? And we can have specific graphic elements for a specific channel or platform. And more examples of templates that we can play with. Okay, cool. Also want to show you that we can simplify all of this into a style sheet if you want to share in a much more condensed, summarized way. Super useful. Or if the scope or budget is limited, this is the solution. I want to put that out there for clarity. And beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful day. Bye.